Please kindly subscribe, like, comment, and view our videos.
Since we have a number of objects in the scene, I suggest cleaning up all the layers so that all of our structural elements of the building are in one single layer. And drawings and supporting elements are in other layers. So first we can unhide all. We select all structural elements, namely walls, partitions, ceiling, floor, everything except our references. Click plus, create new layer, and set the name, for example, build. We can delete all unwanted layers. Let's see what we have in the default layer. Double click all the elements of the layer. They're also references, which means I move them to the reference layer. Done. Alright, now I need to rename if something has not been renamed, and check if everything has been renamed. Let's hide all of what we don't need. Leave the basement. Now, in the build section, I hide some elements for now. Check how it looks, and move on to modeling this space. The base is walls and partitions here, but we will later make stairs for green spaces as well as steps. So I open an object that was made for the lower floor, and I've already converted it to an editable poly. I just delete the lower and top polygons for convenience. We got this form. Let's create windows here. Set the thickness of the walls and set the partitions. Technology is the same as the one we used on the floor above. To get rid of these spots, I select the element and reset the smoothing groups. Done. Now our geometry is clean. Let's create a floor for this level. And I will copy the same element that was created for the first floor, move it down, and adjust it to fit the floor of the first floor level. Now pay attention that we forgot that there's a staircase flight here. We can add it at the spline level right here at the level of lines. Now I added the shape of the floor to match the shape of our lower floor. Now just drag it to points and select Edit Poly Shell in the modifier stack. And that's it, our floor is ready. Set the name here. Basement wall, and here also basement wall. I'm sorry, basement floor. I hide the details of the upper floors to build partitions. Now we may lower our floor a little below 0 to better see the reference of partitions. And now let's build partitions. I will raise the reference to 0 and build the bases on it. And then I will lower all of this to the minus level and adjust the height. Now let's build the base. It will be a polygonal object partitions, objects will be rather conditional. We don't make them accurate since this is an architectural project, not exterior visualization. So we don't need high accuracy. However, if we don't make walls inside, then everything will look incomplete. Inside will be empty. So I'm copying the details at the element level so that you can see another option for modeling partitions. Sometimes you can show creative imagination, but we'll largely operate in the same way. Partitions are schematically drawn, and now I lower our drawing to a level below the floor level. I raise the floor where it should be to the point of contact with the bottom edge of the walls. Perhaps we will adjust it later because the depth of this floor can be different. The basement may not be 3 meters high, maybe it will be lower. I correct the shape a little. Now I'll lower the partitions to the 0 level using snaps. In the front view, I can select the top row of points and raise it to the height of the floor. Now, we don't know the value of the depth parameter, so it may not be as deep as we currently model. To determine how deep the floor of a given floor level goes, we can refer to our picture, in particular to this image. Count the number of steps, calculate the height from this plane to the top level, and thereby understand the depth this floor is located at. For example, there are 15 steps. Each of the steps is 15 centimeters high, which means that the total height from this level to the top is 2 meters and 25 centimeters. Then, in our situation, we understand that the surface level of this floor is at a height of -2, 25. So what will we do? We can convert this object to a polygon, set pivot to the point of the plane. It's now set to the top anyway, and set its height in this parameter, -225, and that's it. Pivot has moved to a height of -225. This is the second way how you can move objects by a certain value. Here's our floor level, and relative to this floor level, we can put partitions along the snaps, reduce the height of these partitions, and most importantly, make this lintel. There's a window there, and there's a lintel above the window. Now our task now is to make it. Select the edges, click connect. The lintel is at about this height. I took an approximate value. We can always correct it. However, judging by this photo, the shape is something like this. Done. Inside, we can add doorways, or we cannot add doorways, because in this picture, it will be clear that something is inside. In addition, there will be furniture. Perhaps we will not need the doorways. However, if we need some changes with the model and partitions, we can use the same technology, adding edges and the bridge function. Now let's make the steps that lead down from point 0 down. Let's use the tool from the standard primitives. There are steps here, and we choose even ones. And the top view, draw a line using the shift button and to the side. Now we move to perspective and adjust our steps with parameters. We can turn it. Having adjusted all the parameters, we get this block. Number of steps is 15, height is 12, 7, and this is what we get based on the reference. The next step is to model our blocks for plants. Move the reference closer. Let's analyze. These are concrete blocks, so each of them fill 3 steps, and so on, to the top. The last ones will likely be smaller since they're 15. We made these concrete blocks, attach them into a single mesh, move them closer. We can raise them a little bit to avoid coplanar here, so there aren't any intersections of polygons. I'll raise them like this so that there are no front intersections in these spots. I will move it forward. This is done for future convenience. Now looking at our reference, we will adjust the width of this concrete block. I see that the height of the step and the width of the block are approximately 2 times different, so I will do it loosely, selecting by points like this. It's convenient to do this in the top view, and let's change the width. This object is ready. Next we join the flower beds with plants, where plants will be, and I copy this object. Actually, I selected more than necessary. So I make a copy by holding Shift, and using polygons we extrude the geometry. Select top polygons and insert. A small value, something like this, and now while holding Shift, I pull down and separate this block of polygons. The resulting elements is separated. I change the color to light green to understand that there will be vegetation. This block will be colored brown. It's already clear that these elements will be with vegetation. This intersecting polygon gets in our way, but it's not critical. We can raise all of these newly created objects like so. Actually, a little higher, and it will be okay. There's also a small overlap here, but it seems that in this case it's more convenient to move the wall a little bit. So based on a situation, we can quickly create the main frame for our future detailed elements. The basement floor is almost ready. Remove our substrate. Now it only remains to glaze the windows in front and on the side, and the basement will be ready. Now let's build an opening in the ceiling for the stairs. To do this, open ground floor object. And in this object named ceiling, we need to make an opening to build stairs. Now open the reference which we'll need. Select the reference. Select the object to be modified. Switch to the top view. And I go to the level of the line, and this is the space we'll modify. Set points in spline using the refine method. Select the edge, hold Shift, and stretch like this. Alright, the stairs will be located here in the center. There may be an elevator as designation on the plan, but we'll not detail the interior now because in these lessons we're working with exterior. However, we will add flights of stairs in the middle. So I'll make this space. Done. Go to the level up. We've got this modification. Leave isolation mode. Here's the outline of our floor. The opening for the stairs in sight. Now it all matches. You can move on to modeling the next floor and the roof.